and we put on all the glazing in here so you could be able to keep the windows in. And that took forever to dry, but once it dried we put a different glazing on it that's the same paint color as this, so it all blends in together, and now I'm scraping all the paint off the windows so it's new.
I think the most exciting part though is when we started getting everything arranged here before we actually went, because we started realizing, hey, we're about to go and do something that's going to make an impression on the rest of our life.
It's kind of interesting how it takes a special skill that we've all learned to have, where we can start something we have no idea how to do, with no instruction books, no little books that we can throw away, not read, but we learn how to do it by actually doing it hands-on, trial and error.
Well, it did help me grow a lot.
My experience mostly with the cabin was the first stage, and in my mind that was kind of the last one. I didn't think about the whole building process and just how long it would take. It was kind of the spectacle was the demolition. The real test of someone's metal was to rebuild it, and rebuild it so well. When I came today, I let out a small whistle because it looked incredible. It looked, when I stepped inside, I thought, when we first stepped inside, we were looking at torn wallpaper and windows and bees and overgrown, and you couldn't imagine it. Now you look at it and think, this is history now. This is something to look at forever.
Not very many people can say that they took down a cabin and rebuilt it in a lot better shape than when you found it.
The disassembly and then the taking it someplace and the reassembling it was a very difficult process, because we also had to adapt.
It's kind of funny how one man's trash can be turned around with a little TLC and be a landmark somewhere else.
If we lost the map, then we could still put it up because we had the letters and the numbers that corresponded to the size of the house. So there's a little pressure, but it all worked out, so I'm kind of glad it did.
Didn't seem like y'all had any idea what you were doing, and looked like Sam was going to ruin everything, but it turned out really good.
So have we ever figured out what the holes were for?
We don't know what the holes are yet. We're doing some chemical analysis over at the University of Texas at Dallas.
Yeah, they can bring their grandkids to this,
So it's cool to see like how they used to do it and how they do it now. And I'm actually kind of wondering if somebody might do the same thing that we did, in a long time when it's kind of run down again, if somebody's going to take it from here and rebuild it someplace else. I think that'd be pretty cool to see.
I'm actually meeting with a guy later on tonight that's heard that I moved a log cabin and wants me to move a house for him.
It's just not that tough. Just need a flatbed wrecker and a couple of guys who don't have any idea what they're doing.
I am very amazed that none of these guys got hurt.
They just did it.
There was a reason I was standing so far back and zooming in. I'm impressed by their tenacity to not injure themselves severely beyond hitting themselves in the face with a hammer.
Oh, thanks. I think the second time I hit myself in the face with a hammer was from that milk I was taking out nails.
I think you should print a shirt that says, "Friends don't let friends pull out nails." Because you've got a serious issue with the nail puller.
It's my least favorite thing to do other than the holes.
And we basically learned how they used to do it, like make a log cabin, and we used our newfound skills to actually build it here.
I think from his point of view, it's like a dog. Like you have a puppy and you watch it grow up, and then you don't really notice these changes. But he stopped. He left for college, and he hasn't come back until now. Yeah. And it's just like you're not seeing a puppy turn into a dog. You're just like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So just seeing it grow up, like seeing this cabin develop, it's like you don't really notice it. But I guess if you were gone for a while and came back, then it's a good project.
That's one actual, I guess, positive of not being here. Besides the fact that I didn't have to do any work, it was that I get to see the finished product and marvel at it. I remember coming back and seeing the chimney halfway finished, and it didn't look like a chimney. But now I step in there and it looks like a chimney from that era. It looks authentic. I admire these guys for doing that and not, having been professionals who have gone through some sort of, technical schooling beyond the classroom at Wylie High. And now they can say, I have helped build a cabin which will remain in Wylie history for a very long time.
The 8 foot down, 3 feet across holes filled with cement. I mean, I didn't do them, but it was a pain for me. I didn't like the mortar. It hurt my hands. I didn't like making it.
Digging the hole for the chimney.
Being in the heat so much, getting sun. We stayed well hydrated. I mean, you kind of enforced that, but I think that if there's any single value in bringing the Swede here is that he was from Sweden. There was plenty to learn simply by his being here, but the fact that he was participating and he kind of just melded into the group. If he didn't open his mouth, you couldn't tell that he was the Swede. He was the guy just pulling his own weight and working his butt off. But certainly, I mean, I enjoyed every time we were in the van, hearing behind me, since I was always in front, hearing behind me the guys asking him questions and his response being, in Sweden, and then he would say, a moose, and then he would say his bit in Swedish, and then he would get his answer, and he would tell you that in Sweden, this is how we eat our hamburgers.
How's the cow doing?
The cow fulfilled her lot in life.
Yeah, going swimming in that freezing pond.
That was hilarious.
I think the windows were actually my favorite part. Spent a lot of time on the windows. Those were a lot of fun.
I didn't mind being up on the roof. You know, you could just be like, hey, person down there, I need this tool. And then they go get it for you. It's like, I don't have to move at all. It was great.
I enjoyed actually watching these guys make good footage by being themselves and by working hard and
It would have to be the chimney. Just because it's such an important piece of this cabin. The chimney and the hearth and the just everything just put everything together, and I thought it was that's my favorite piece because it had so much. It involved so much work, and then it's very tedious, but at the same time it was it's powerful. It's the most. It stands out the most, I think.
It's the thing that they have to touch.
Yeah, I enjoyed the putting in the floor in the cabin.
We raced.
Yeah, me and Sam would race, so you could get their nail in first.
Sam and I.
I think the end was seeing it was the best, but I had the most fun just taking it apart.
When did you realize that it was finished? Was it just like a voila moment, or
We ran out of stuff to do.
Morris, what's the next thing? Yeah.
ran out of stuff to do? I like that a lot better
It's like
than
a
more
checklist.
finish. Because ran out of stuff to do implies a constant drive to keep working.
I really don't think I have a favorite. The whole taking it down in Kentucky was a really fun thing to do. I mean, we woke up every morning really early, went out, adapting to the weather was kind of interesting, and it was my first time to ever be to Kentucky, and just seeing the cabin and then taking it down, loading everything up, and it was a lot of fun to do that. I think my favorite part of the rebuilding process was adding on the chimney. I liked working with them, doing all the masonry work.
Take the camera from him and get some of his thoughts.
Sounds like a good idea.
Let's go on inside for this one. Got a fire going. I believe that to the curious outsider, they're going to say, oh, they're building a log cabin. That's not really what we were doing. The cabin's a stationary thing, and it could burn down tomorrow. But what we were really doing was we were building young men and women, and they'll take that with them wherever they go, for however long they're alive, and to whom they pass that's where what we really did goes. We're better helping them to understand that they are the authors of their own script, stars of their own show. They can believe in themselves and their abilities, that they can do things that they haven't done yet. They're ranked amateurs in a lot of things, and yet by trying, by putting forth effort, they're able to come up with a good finished product. They're able to do things that maybe they weren't taught how to do.